Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mindset Monday. Hope you're all doing well. So, today we're going to talk about overcoming disappointment in network marketing. Let me get Jen in. Good morning, Jen. Um, I did use ChatGPT to help me, but it's also going to be an open discussion as well. So, overcoming disappointment is really important to getting towards a successful business, and you have to overcome it with a positive mindset um, to turn that disappointment into a catalyst for growth. So, there's a couple of steps you can take. And the first one is to acknowledge and accept disappointment, that they're part of your business. So I actually just started reading Failing Forward by John Maxwell. And a lot of what that is about is remembering that failure is, it's really a tool for growth, and that you don't actually, it was really interesting when I read last night because he wrote that you don't want to avoid failure because you can't succeed if you don't have failures. So failures are really important. And disappointment is, when things don't happen, unfold, good morning, Jen, like you think they will in your business, that's a failure, but it's also a growth challenge, right? So instead of dwelling on the setbacks, you need to use them as valuable learning experiences, which is exactly what the book said last night. And you can take steps to do that because you want to look at your failure. You want to analyze what went wrong. You want to identify areas to improve. And then you want to use all those lessons to really fine tune how you're moving forward with your business. I thought this was really interesting because the second thing they wrote down here was that you need to maintain a strong belief in the products or services you're promoting, and that's pivotal. So I know that that's important with everyone. I know we know that, like up here. But I think sometimes we get lost in for me anyway, we get lost in the whole, I've got to meet this month. I've got to maximize the sale. I've got to, help people get their Christmas things in line. You kind of get distracted by the promotions. I want to get that $9.95 out there for the people who really did want to join. You kind of get distracted by that, and you lose sense of the mission. And we do have very on point mission, of course, educating people about toxins. And I think that's really important, is to keep going back to that. By having unwavering confidence in your offerings, you can weather disappointment with resilience. So I think that's really important to keep getting back to that. Always remind yourself, maybe you have a little, I know that I somewhere have a blog post about Pure Haven products, or you can always go read the Pure Haven blog, right? Just remember at the essence what it's all about, instead of using, the marketing materials and the catchphrases that we have. Really sit down and think about, like Beth said last night, like, why, go back to your why did you join? Why is this mission important? Why did you pick this out of all the network marketing companies out there? Because there's hundreds, if not thousands of them. So why did you pick this one? Why have you been with it this long? And then, it's also, you got to get back to that feeling of excitement, enthusiasm, so that you can share it out again. Right. So I think we need to, I think this is a good topic that I wanted to talk, not just for what I've been experienced, but also as the new year rolls ahead, as we go into the new year, and January potentially being a down month relative to November and December. I think we really need to get back, not for Beth, not for everyone,
Well,
but
no, I mean, it's always double host reward month. So if
right,
you're
right,
doing parties, well, it's always been double host reward month. So if you're doing parties, it should be one of your best months, honestly.
right, right.
And we'll also be
Uh,
launching our program. So
that's true. That's true. But I think you've got to just be also just remember why you're there. Remember why you're here. um, so cultivating a growth mindset is another key element, and that's why we're here on Mindset Monday. Embrace challenges as opportunities for personal and professional development. Network marketing involves building relationships and expanding your skill set. So I think that's also too, again, like if you were at the team meeting last night, that said to accept every invitation you get. This season is a good season to get with people. It can be a little tricky because people are really busy, but it's also a good season just to get together with people when you can, shop with your friends who are out shopping, grab a cup of coffee or cocoa or something, with other people, get into, whatever events that you can to start building relationships, like even outside your business. You want to really be building those relationships. And, January, what I will say about January, it's a great time to be offering the opportunity because people are looking for a new start and a new, how can I build my income in 2024? Maybe 2023 was disappointing, and maybe right now they're really preoccupied with, I just got to get through the holidays. But in January, it's a good time to offer an opportunity. So a growth mindset empowers you to see setbacks as stepping stones towards success, and that gives you a positive and proactive approach. Next is build a strong support system within your network marketing business. We actually are very blessed, I believe, that we have a really strong team and a really strong, in terms of support and helping each other and boosting people and opportunities like Mindset Monday. We kind of already have this. So if you're watching this right now and you don't really participate in the calendar too much, I would say really look at the calendar, try to get to team meetings. I know not everyone's available Sunday nights, but try to get to different meetings. And if you can't get to different meetings, reach out to the consultant who is your upline and ask them, look, I can only do XYZ. I only have Monday nights. I only have Saturdays, whatever. Is there some way we can maybe do a power hour on that time or extra coaching on that time? So always reach out for help if you can't, if the calendar doesn't fit. You should be in Circle. You should be looking at Circle, and there's so many tools and assets there. And we're just at the beginning of setting up those tools and assets. The Leaders in Action is going to be growing all those resources. So you do have a really strong support system right now available to you, but you have to take advantage of it. And I know pretty much just about every upline. You can reach out and ask them questions, ask them for a three-way chat if you have someone who's interested in joining. I know everyone sitting here on the screen is all very happy to help grow the people under them to jump on a Zoom or a Facebook call or whatever, and make sure that you're getting your questions answered. So we are very blessed that we already have that in place. You just need to take advantage of it. Okay, and the last point is set realistic and achievable goals to measure your progress. Break down your bigger goals into smaller, manageable tasks. So that would be like the 5-5-5 and the 2-2-2. So if you don't know what that is, there's information on Circle on what that is, but 2-2-2 is a way to follow up with existing customers. It gives you a very laid out plan for how often to reach out with them. And 5-5-5 is a way to make sure you are talking to people every day, five new prospects, um, five people who are already your customers, and five that you are inviting to events and things. So it's a good system to keep you on track, talking to people every day and always expanding your relationships and growing your relationships. So when you break things down into smaller tasks, like how much in sales do you want to have this month? And then you can break that down. So for December, you can divide that by 31 and figure out how much you need to do each day. Celebrate small victories along the way. So I will confess to you that I have a spreadsheet of gratitude that every day I write something I'm grateful for in my business. And the last 2 or 3 weeks were overwhelming. And a lot of stuff happened on top of the holiday. And I didn't keep up with that. And I honestly feel like when I look at how I felt the last couple of days, I feel like there is a relationship between me not filling out that form for like a solid 10 days in a row and just feeling really gloomy about my business. And it was really funny because I was thinking I was really not happy yesterday. And I went in and I looked at my sheet because somebody made a purchase. And I looked at my sheet to update my sheet. And I was like, I haven't posted one doggone thing that I'm grateful for in 10 days. And I was doing it like religiously before that. And in my mind, I believe there's probably a correlation between not doing that and feeling down. So, when it says celebrate small victories along the way, really do that. Really do that. Celebrate. Um, did you show up to something that you don't normally do? That's a celebration. Did somebody ask you a question about a non-toxic product who's never asked you about that before? Even if it's not a sale yet, they're starting to recognize that you know what you're talking about. Did you have a conversation with somebody new? Did you have a conversation with your waiter or waitress? When you were out to dinner, anything like that. Really look at the overall what you have to celebrate. Jen writes, you see someone totally new on your social feed, you are getting the word out. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Jen. But just always celebrate those things, because I think without a lot of celebration, we're such creatures that we need reinforcement all the time. Just like our kids when they were little, they needed reinforcement when they did something positive, right? We never grow out of that, I guess. You need reinforcement to remember why you were doing this and to celebrate those victories. By staying focused on the tangible achievements, that helps navigate the disappointments more effectively, and it helps you stay motivated on the path to success. So that was the basic of what I had to share. Did anybody have anything they wanted to add, or any questions, or any comments on how you deal with your mindset when you are in a down mindset?
I plug in because that's the only thing that really helps me, is to plug into other people, ask questions, see what they're doing, that's helping them. My downline is just really doing really well. Of course, a couple of them were ready to lose their consultant status, so I had a big order from one of them that really doesn't do anything, but gets products for herself, I guess. And but yeah, I have to plug in, and the grateful list, I need to start doing that, because I do, I say it in my head, and I thank God for everything, but I need to write it down. I'm not really good at journaling or writing anything down except notes on meetings like this. So I need to start, I put an asterisk around it. I really need to start to make a list.
Mhm.
Because I mean, I know I have so many things to be grateful for. Um, so I need to start doing that.
I think too, I'm gonna just add one more thing. That's good. Yeah, I think you do need to do that. I mean, like I said, I know I needed to do it. But I think, because I'm thinking about your downline and I'm thinking about, I thought I was running the meeting last night. I thought I was a hot mess, and Beth complimented us, and it made a huge, huge, huge difference to how I felt. And then other people complimented us in the chat, and it made a big difference. So I think give out too. So like I try to look at when people hit whatever, even if they just hit 300, and I know they're probably just buying them for themselves, I'll just send them a quick email like, yay, you earned your power bonus this month. Like, or just if they hit something higher, if they're like a scooch away from the next level, I'll email them too. Like, just, a lot of times if I message someone, if they're someone I can actually get a message with and they get back to me, they always go, oh, well, it was kind of no big deal. And then, just kind of do the same thing, support them, say, no, don't sell yourself short. That was really great. That's exactly what you need to be doing. So I think maybe Michelle, you can reach out to your people, and if they're doing good, let them know, thank them and let them know, and encourage them, because that really helps on the other side, you know.
Yeah.
So I I'm a musical person, so if I'm feeling down, I go to music.
Mhm.
And if that doesn't work, then I usually reach out to one of my sisters here in Pure Haven, because you all are growth mindset, and outside of this company, I don't know many people that are growth mindset. Um, so I'll usually reach out to someone on the team and be like, hey, this is what's going on.
You gotta wait a minute.
It's harder for me to do that because I don't want to bring them down, but I have to keep in my head like, no, I'm there. It's not going to bring them down because they are growth mindset.
Mhm, mhm.
We're all here to help each other.
Right.
And definitely, yes, Michelle, plugging in is ideal for changing.
Mhm.
I literally just woke up and I was like, I really don't want to come on, but I have to come on because I just woke up and there's something I should have been up earlier. So I'm like, let's turn this day around. So here I
Well, at
am.
least you're dressed.
No, this is what I slept in. Yeah.
Well, I
But
think it's important too that oh gosh, I just lost what I was saying. I think um going back to the support one, which keeps coming around, I think that's important to share with other people too, because sometimes people go, I'm not going to join because I've joined places before and I don't know what to do. And it's like, yeah, who's had that experience before where you just felt like you were, or they have a meeting and you go in the meeting and you're not acknowledged. No one, there's only 5 people in the meeting and you're not, it's happened to me one time. Not only was I not acknowledged, I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea where the tools were. They were just really excited about something. They were sort of very self-involved. And here I am, like a team member, and I'm like, I don't know. This was like the maybe second company I ever was in. I had no idea what I was doing, no clue. And nobody was like, oh, hi, welcome, here's where the tools are, here's what do you need help with. In fact, I almost some other company I was with, I almost got poached because the lady was like, here's all the resources we have, here's the method, we have the whole book typed down on what to do. And it was a more toxic product, so I was like, I can't sell this stuff. But yeah, I think when you're talking to people, just let them know that there is, obviously there's actions you have to take too, but we do have a lot of resources and we do have a lot of coaching and training and everything you need. And we're just going to be growing those efforts. And a lot of companies, they don't, or maybe they have it, but they just they toss you in the deep end. So they don't really tell you how to use the system, or they don't have a system or you don't get, or the person who is your upline doesn't really help you at all. And you're floundering, you will flounder and you will fail because of that. So I think, I think people just go, they just put out there, oh, you'll make 6 figures a year if you just do what I do. And it's like, okay, but then you need to teach me what you do.
Mhm.
You need to teach me when I'm having a bad week or a bad day or things are not working, what do I do next? Because I do see a lot of people fail and then they just go, oh, this network marketing never works for me. And it's like, partly that may be them, but partly it's probably that there was no system and there was no resources and nobody told them how to speak to people. Nobody told them it's network marketing, so you have to build relationships. Just a lot of companies, they even do. I can think of one that does this. Just recruit just get your husband, and if you have an adult child, we need 3 people. 3 people gets you some package or something. Have you heard these companies like supplement companies? If you get 2 more, you get this bonus or whatever. So just you buy it and then get your husband and then get your kid. And it's like that you can't really that's not building a business.
Right.
This is just paying for your supplements. So that's a totally different approach. That, and then people are like, well, I have my 3. So why aren't I making $1 million? And it's like, because that's your family. That's not what network marketing is at all. That's not how to build a business.
Right.
Yeah.
I know for me, I like to follow Kristen Voss, and she had a podcast on this morning, which I started to listen to, and I sent it to my team, and she talked about growing collectively. In other words, our business is not about us. It's just like our life is not about us. Our business is really not about us. It's about changing lives of other people.
Right.
And for me, my words get in the way. Like I start to throw up words, and like to get people, to come on board with my mindset, and not everybody does that. So that's been a learning curve for me, and that's helped me a lot in that. And listening to Kristen has helped me a lot, because I will get very disappointed if people are not understanding and grasping what I'm trying to tell them. But the learning curve of that is, it's not about them getting my mindset. It's about them understanding that they have the opportunity to change their mindset. And if they don't, and Mary Johnson was very good with this too. She said, I am giving you permission, because I would say, I should have said this, or I shouldn't have said that. And I might have been able to say this. And she stopped me one day and she said, Judy, I give you permission to, when you get off of that phone call or out of that gathering, I give you permission to accept the fact that whatever you said that time was meant to be said. And once she said that, it was like, all right, yeah, okay. If she's given me permission, then I should be graceful enough to give myself the same permission, but also learn from that, learn. And I think Michelle always says, you're either growing or, what do you say, Michelle?
It's either a good day or a growing day.
Growing day, right.
That's
So
right.
every opportunity that we get in front of someone where it's either a good opportunity to share, always a good opportunity to share the mission, but you're always growing from it.
Mhm.
You're always learning from it.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what I have to say.
Right, and that's like, yeah, I am in a networking group and I spoke to, we had a roundtable networking, we did speed networking, but it wasn't real speed networking, it was 10-minute networking. And so I spoke to a leader who, at a competing firm, and what was good about it was she actually had good advice for me, and it was not about, like, it was cool because we were finding common ground. And we won't ever buy each other's products, I know that, but still that she thought, because she's high up in her company, she had lots to offer me, and it was very generous of her, but in that she was actually building a relationship, and I thought that was great. Like, it wasn't in my mind to like poach her or anything like that. It was just, when I walked over her, I just looked at her like, we already had a one-on-one, but how are we gonna really talk now? And I think she just said, so like, what, we just got on the topic of books, like growth mindset books. And so then it kind of came from there, but it was good to get other perspective, and it was good to have support from someone who's that, obviously Beth has great support as a high leader in the company, but it was also interesting to see an outside perspective, and just because it was more generic tips. So she was saying, like, if you're going towards leadership, she's like, I advise before you get there, read that was her biggest advice for me. Read some leadership books. And she gave me a whole lot of John Maxwell books, actually, but a whole bunch of, because she said, because once you become that leadership, that 6-figure earner, you're not really going to have as much time to read. And so she's like, so do it now so that you're learning the leadership skills before you get there. So I thought that was great. I mean, there is like, so sometimes you can go outside of network for support, just to get a little bit of a different perspective and see what people are doing differently. And so that was kind of a valuable resource. But yeah, I think, and Jen, you mentioned listening to different podcasts and books. I think that's all really good advice, that you want to like sample in and sample out, right? So you want to have the internal discussions with your team and your upline, and then you want to go out there and look at generic, because a book might speak to you that doesn't really speak to someone else. So I like what Atomic Habits is saying, but it is really hard. It's a really important book to read. I don't know what it is about that book. I actually had it sitting on my table for like a year. I won it. And it sat there for like, and then I started to read it like about 2 months after I got it. And I just read like 2 chapters and that was it. So it's good to have the book club to go through it. But not every book is going to speak to you the same way. I thought the last book, the Hormozi book, had a lot of great information. I thought the Selling It Softly it's quick, it's easy, it's simple, and it's so useful. Like, I think that is probably one I would recommend to downline even over the Get Over Your Damn Self, which is a good book, but it's just very simple. So I think it's good to get outside, find a podcast that works for you, find books that work for you, as well as what you're doing within your team. So, okay, great. Does anybody have anything else to add? What's that, Jen?
My son just like, I don't want any more. Hold on, let me stop the blur. I don't want any more. It's a pancake sausage stick.
Okay.
He's done.
I haven't eaten yet, so that looks good to me.
I'm like, well, I mean, it's not as crunchy as we might want, but you know what? We're not all crunchy 100%, so it's all good.
Oh,
I just want to say, your first point was acknowledge and accept. And I've always said, and this, I know I'm repeating myself, but you have to accept the fact of anything that's happening in your life. Then, no, first you acknowledge the fact that it's
Mhm.
happening, then you accept it. And that's
Mhm.
the only way that you can take action to change it.
Mhm.
So it's the 3 A's: acknowledge, accept, and action. And
that's
without
good.
the first two, you can't take any action to change it.
Mhm.
So I know I've said it before, but maybe somebody needed to hear it again.
Thank you. No, that's very good. That's very helpful. And I think the flip side of that too is, like, acknowledge what you can't change, right? There are just some things out of your control. And it's funny because I had a lot of these conversations the day after election day. I had a lot of people who were upset that things didn't go that way. And I said, but there's, I mean, part of my faith is that God's in control. And I was like, okay, but you did what you had to
Right.
do. Because I know a lot of people who did what, they rang doorbells and they took signatures and they organized rallies and all that stuff. And when things didn't go that way, it's like, you don't have to feel bad. You did what you had to do,
Right.
but that you can't control everything. But it still doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing the best you can do. Because what happens is then a lot of those people were disappointed and said, why should I bother going forward? And it's like, because you are still responsible for your actions. You can
That's
still
right.
take action. Just because and that's like with a prospect or a customer. You get someone who looks like they're really hot for joining, and then all of a sudden they're like, I can't join. Or they're all of a sudden like, yeah, I looked at your products, but no, thank you. You did what you had to do, and you'll do that for the next group of people come in, because then you never know if that person is going to be like, you know what, I will join. Or that person might come back in 6 months and go, you know what, I made a mistake. I wish I would have joined sooner. Let's sign me up now. So you do the things, just keep doing the things, and don't worry, divorce yourself from the outcome. You can't control what another person does.
Right.
You just can't.
Another thing I wanted to say is last night I was so overtired, I couldn't sleep. It was
Mhm.
horrible. I'm like
Oh.
laying in bed and I just couldn't sleep. So what I thought about is what my action was going to be about today. So I have a mortgage originator and a realtor in my networking group, and I'm going to do a one-to-one-to-one.
Good.
I'm going to set it up for tomorrow. And I'm like, listen, because I've talked to both of them
Yeah.
about, what Beth said about doing a basket. And I'm going to do exactly what she said. And I'm going to say, listen, it can be for both of you or one of you, and I'll give a gift certificate just for thanking them for doing business with you. And so I want to do that. Then I'm like, oh my gosh, all the people that I didn't follow up with from networking. And one of them has 2 businesses, but she's a general contractor, and we need one in our networking group. So I'm like, there's just so many things going through my mind. And so I just already started doing my daily
Good.
to-dos, because I need to write everything down before I forget it.
Yep.
Because that's what I do. I'll forget. I'm like, okay, what was that I was supposed to do? So so at least I got some productivity out of it.
I got this at the dollar store. Oops, I can't read it. It's a to-do list. It's just a to-do list. It actually has a magnet on it.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But it's just $1. It gives me $1.
I have so many pads that I use,
Well,
and it's like,
yeah,
but
I was having too many pads, so I had to do
Yeah.
this, and it's screaming letters at the top. It says to do, and that's
to do.
it's just a
That's
line and a
great.
checkbox. But yeah,
That's a great
so
idea.
yeah, so
Because
you know, I want to share this because we are football fans, and we were watching a game last night. It was a very stressful, definitely not for anyone with a heart condition kind of game. And what was interesting was it got to this point where we were sure our team was going to lose, and it was up to the kicker to kick the ball, and it was like the distance of the kick, they kept getting messed up, and the distance of the kick was 62 yards, which was like at the outside of what he could do. It was 61, and the furthest he ever kicked was 62, and it was, you know, we were like, oh, it's over, right? And I said to my husband, look, if that guy goes up there, even if he misses, because that's a long shot for him, even though he's a great kicker, I said he can go to bed and sleep well even if they lose, because he did his job. Well, he kicked it through, and in the
Wow.
last 10 seconds tied up the game to go
Wow.
into overtime. And I said to Chris, I said, well, now for sure, win or lose, he can sleep, because he went out there and
Played
he
his
did
best.
his best, and it happened to go right, you know?
was that
And
Philadelphia?
correct.
Yeah. And then they went
Then
on.
in overtime, we were sure they were going to lose, and then they
won.
won while I was on the meeting, and my husband was jumping around like a crazy person behind me. But and another interesting thing that I read in Failing Forward is the reason he got that kick in is because he didn't just go on the field and practice a little bit beforehand and happen to kick. A kicker only plays during the kick, right? So he only is working a couple of minutes a night in an actual game, but behind the scenes, he's kicking that ball every day. Dozens of times, maybe 100, I don't know. He's kicking that ball every week. He's practicing those long kicks and short kicks and windy weather and bad weather. He's practicing them, right? I'm sure behind the scenes, there were plenty of times he didn't get that through the 62 or 61 or whatever it was. But he wouldn't know how to kick it right until he kicked it wrong. And actually, when you do something repetitively, I don't remember where I learned this, but your brain, when you do something right, your brain remembers you doing it right. It doesn't remember the 750 times you did it wrong. So you keep practicing and keep practicing until you get it, so that, you know, no one's perfect. Anything could happen. It was bad weather conditions. He could have missed. But even if he had missed, we know that he practiced behind the scenes when nobody was watching, when nobody cared, when there was nothing on the line. He practiced that kick over and over and over. And it's the same thing. So we just need to do our things and just keep practicing or talking and sharing over and over and over. And that helps us to overcome the disappointments, because then we have a plan going forward. Okay, I didn't make the numbers I wanted to, but now let me go back and look at what didn't I do? What didn't I do this month that I did in other months when I did better? That's a concrete action you can take, right? You can look at what customers bought last Black Friday that didn't this year. And let me go and talk to them again. Maybe they need money. Maybe they could be a consultant, right? So, you know, or what did I put in as much time? I think maybe it's a good idea also to kind of keep track of your work time, right? Maybe last month nothing was going on, and so you worked 10 hours a week. And this month you had Thanksgiving and you had commitments and deadlines, you had other stuff that was not Pure Haven going on, you had family stuff or whatever, and so you were only really working 2 hours a week, you know? So look at that, look at that, try to dig out the reasons why you're not where you are, you know, and then try to, and then address them for the next, you don't have to wait till next month either. Address them today, right? So you're like, okay, why don't I just put in, you know, 10 hours this week, 10 hours between now and the 30th. Maybe I only did 2 last week, and you know, let's fix that right now. There's no reason you can't. So, and that's it. So thank you everyone for all your input. And you know, I hope this helped you overcome the disappointments and find a way to address what you're looking at as the failure, and see that failure as a learning step, a growth step towards your next level. Thanks, everyone.
Yes. Thanks, Gina. This was great.
Thank you, Gina. Great.
Thanks. Beth, can you turn off the record? You're welcome, guys.
Thank you.